strong players. Everyone, I think, dropped 30 kills in that best-of-3 series. So there is firepower on FYB, and this is not to be mistaken as a quick sweep for EUNITED at all.
Yeah, a couple of players that I want to highlight going into this game definitely has to be a player like Huston. Huston, he has made himself a little bit known throughout the CS pugging scene and just the tier 2 CS scene in general, where again, he never really got his opportunity to really make his way up or really shine on a bigger stage. But now, at least in Valorant, he finds himself in a pug mix with a roster that's actually pretty well-rounded. Love to see that at least from them, but EUNITED, they land into this one. And if I'm not mistaken, it's actually their 27th time. No, wow, what am I saying? That's another map. This is actually their 17th time on Ascent just in the last 3 months, Sully.
Scourge playing deep up top with the Sheriff. This could be really deadly, right? Because you have to commit those smokes to both Garden and maybe front side or the left side. So Scourge has picked a really good position to use this Sheriff. Smokes will go down. There's the first to Garden. And there's an instant response. The Lear goes out. Scourge is holding, but he's got a chance as JMO's taking the fire and Turnip as well. There goes Scourge's Sheriff. There's one late lurk towards middle, and Truo comes up big with a double, but it's a 3 versus 2, and Turnip's already escaped from the site. Spike has been dropped in front of the gates. And FYB, how do they try and recover this one? They are so split apart, and KRZ has got a 1 versus 2. He's got to fight in this engagement now.
Cage triggered.
Well, that's tough, but that's at least good to isolate. They just need to get that spike back, and all of EUNITED, they have at least concentrated themselves around that garden area, around heaven. Mikkel is back, closes down the gate. He doesn't have any coverage. That gate goes down, and Mikkel can't possibly commit to this angle. Still laying around 20 seconds left. It would have to be a long rotation. EUNITED was thinking about the possibility of it, but now in we go. KRZ, the timing! Wonderfully done. Still takes down Joseph. Easy comes back. Mikkel now 1v2. Couple of players in front of him. Lots of pixels to aim at, but it's Turnip with a third.
That is so close. So look at the HP on Easy in particular. I mean, that got maybe a little too dicey if you are EUNITED. At a certain point, Easy's like, dude, I gotta stop taking this fight. I'm gonna go down right and leave Turnip at a 1v1. We don't want to have that. FYB, they do get the plant down, so that's gonna be an extra 200 plus credits into their bank accounts. They can maybe force up, which they will. Stingers and Spectres alike. See what they can get out of this one. Maybe they can force EUNITED into a more uncomfortable position. But looking at it, Gus, the buys are extremely similar going into the second round.
Which is weird to say, right? Purely because after the nerf that we just had to the Stingers, we would expect this to like be more even with like a smorgasbord of like SMGs. We would have more Stingers to save up the cash, but no, everyone's just sticking up with the Spectres and actually trying to fight this full on. Speaking of fighting full on, EUNITED double up A main. Rossi.
Oh, Rossi.
Massive with that X1 tag. That's OGAF. Now FYB, they do have themselves a 2-man advantage. Might get pressured out by Turnip, but it's Turnip actually taking on the pressure.
Backs away. Good pressure, at least from Turnip, to try and regain some control, but it doesn't work out because EUNITED maybe not necessarily focused in the right positioning as, oh, Rossi finding himself a third off the shock dart. FYB do everything correct here. I don't think EUNITED expected them to play like that towards A main. They thought they could get that pressure for free, and they were caught completely off guard. Rossi goes siege with a triple. 5 versus 2. Position revealed already. They know where the second is now. Rossi looking for the ace, and there's the second round. Rossi, Hunter Suri online, more importantly, but a big second round pickup as that'll put EUNITED now on an eco.
Okay, put him down in the dirt. I mean, not even letting them down softly in a sense. Rossi, he wins out those 2 battles, I mean, incredibly cleanly. I mean, especially with the setup that they actually had with EUNITED, still trying to fight up Orb, but more or less just trying to get more information. Rossi denied all of that, staying all alone in that position. But now going forward, you know, if we really start to talk about FYB and what has been more their potential, Huston has been a very consistent fragger, and there he is. I mean, he's already making his points for me. KRZ now pops out for a double, but gotta give it up to Huston. He gets 2 headshots, and he lines it up.
Yeah, clean, clean, clean. Nothing that you can do if you're EUNITED in that position. A Vandal in this 3rd round onto Urena. Huston makes a lot of sense there. FYB, you make that gamble, you get what you wanted from it. And Turnip would have been very lucky, I think, to walk away with another kill. So they get out with the Vandal again. No real major losses for FYB, but it's EUNITED who will be able to easily invest back. You make that stack on this B site, and again, that's exactly what happens. And with Reyna now with only two pieces of util, the Dismiss and the Devour, you know, you got two orbs lined up. You can use both of them right there. So 2-1 start for FYB. Once more, EUNITED. It's been a very slow start. I think now they're realizing that FYB are definitely a menacing team thus far, so changes will need to be made. I think a recon bolt to at least fake some presence or at least get a little bit of information, as EUNITED aren't necessarily pressing anything too often. They've got one cam on B to watch for any players going into B main, but FYB have got all this control, and Huston, he'll be able to get the ult online. He could save that for a clutch onto this A side if they need Aldrone to go in first. And FYB are scarce for information.
Oh, Scourge. Let's pop out at least one, but that Hunter's Fury's so clean and still gets the third pick. Huston still fighting, but JMO up in heaven. Fighting against the aggressive Mickle. Rossi so clean again. EUNITED now down to 2. Trying to make their way back site some way, somehow. But if there's any player that you actually want at that front line, it's got to be Easy and Joseph, but Truo. Oh, this is wonderful. FYB with an insurance policy over in Cat. Actually double at this point. Rossi, he's just got to stay alive. Considering the fact that his teammates do have a pretty good crossfire, if they do end up dropping down, they just got to play time.
Oh, Paranoia goes into the middle of sight. Joseph's going to drop. They clear out under heaven, but that's so much time bought off, and no one in FYB is peeking. The doors have already been broken. The spray is going in. Joseph trying to get something. Rossi in the middle of the site. Bodies are flying everywhere, but the round is already in the pockets of FYB. Superb execution. I love the combination of utilities there. The Hunter's Fury allows Mickle to get up top, the dash in as well, and the swing from Huston. Perfectly done from FYB, and a well-deserved third round as EUNITED caught lacking. It's another eco for them. 3 ults online. And with FYB, they are nearing completion on almost every single one of them.
Looking back at the last time EUNITED was really at a bigger spotlight in a sense, they faced off against FaZe Clan, who they actually looked pretty good against up until Split, where they ended up taking on almost an unprecedented 13-0, and that ended up becoming a meme on Twitter for like a day or two, but it is what it is, right? It's still on Ascent. There were a lot of good glimpses that we saw, and one player that really ended up sprouting up on his own had to really be Turnip and his util usage. We need to see a whole lot more of that going forward.
Yeah, that util is always going to be extremely invaluable as that Sylvia. You can get your bang for your buck. You can turn the tides of a single round, like Rossi with his shock dart catching on to Turnip, I think in the second round even. There's your bang for your buck. Now FYB, a little bit more cautious, a little bit more slow, but the thing is that they aren't running any defaults. So this, if EUNITED can make that adaptation and realize, well, these guys haven't been running any defaults really, let's try and take space where we realize there aren't, we can work this one out, and they can win rounds even off of ecos like in this position. So already with JMO getting investigative towards A, he's going to call those rotations to go back to the B site where there are 4 players, 2 in mid rotation, and it leaves Easy alone on this site as he's standing on the boathouse. He's looking for an isolated 1 versus 1, but Rossi with the more superior weapon will take him down. 4 players in spawn, cam set up and everything. It's a great hold from FYB.
Rossi, pure first contact. Again, one player playing anti-flash over towards short at the moment. And good smokes in general, just delaying a whole lot of time. FYB, they're just looking to waterfall at this point, and that's all that JMO wanted, but there you go. The anti-flash position turns into a hard contact, and KRZ able to get 2 out of that position. The smoke dissipates, and Rossi is still able to help out FYB for 1.
Clean and simple. I mean, these ecos have been no issues for FYB whatsoever. They make it look so easy. Rossi watching the swing out through defender spawn, even able to catch out Easy trying to go for the swing. So FYB, ults galore now. 3 major ones. The TP if they want to go for a B exec here, which it does look like they might, right? You can use that Hunter's Fury to clear out the back site and then make that TP commit. So you never know. And not to mention Scourge as well, able to commit off of the Empress. I mean, there are a lot of big plays for both these sides that can be done.
Here we go then. Let's see if that theory is correct. Rossi going for a fairly classic dart lineup. Very quick onto tree. No Hunter's Fury, though. They're just trying to fight this immediately.
Yeah, doesn't go for the
KRZ
ult
takes
orb.
on Easy. Still one of the back line, too. They know this for a fact. Joseph has to go big to try to equalize. Now, not only that, but the neural network is off the neural theft. Huston actually able to get a kill onto JMO. Again, too ballsy, right? Just emerges from the smoke. And now it's Empress v Empress. Again, still potential for that Hunter's Fury. At this point, EUNITED just trying to find optimal position, potentially an earlier pick. If they clear out B main here, this is massive. They can just launch out the ulti, and they can go buck wild. They're fighting this, though.
Ooh, Turnip with a big shot. Scourge with a second back, but he's got nowhere to go as Mikkel. They knew exactly where they were coming from. FYB taking easy fifth round. Not necessarily easy off the post plant, but that execution was seamless from them. EUNITED not ready for what FYB are bringing to the table. It's another eco round for them. And not to mention FYB, they hold on to the Hunter's Fury. Another huge ult. And Truo is already right back to where his Omen TP is. They can do so many combo plays off of that one.
Again, a decent attempt. I think EUNITED again. They had the right flow, had the right steps to things, but again, in the end, it is a 2v4. Really, the best that you could do. Again, I was thinking that the Hunter's Fury could definitely go down off that retake, but again, it just is how it is in terms of how things went out. And for Mikkel, it is what it is too. All right, que sera, sera. I mean, it's just Joseph getting a clean shot onto Mikkel, and he's clean out of there. Yeah. Immediately back over towards the B side. Not only that, but still double coverage over towards A, and he might be backing out.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's now that EUNITED are realizing FYB. I think I said it earlier, is that they're not running default. FYB are kind of just going straight head on into a site. So Joseph tries to capitalize on that space where pressure has been already made by FYB, capitalizing on a big kill. A Scourge, whew, even bigger. Dismissing on out of there. It doesn't want anything to do with A main once more. It's a 5v3 in FYB. Off of one kill from Joseph, has scurried them back to B and allowed Scourge to get that kill. And now they can advance further. A rifle picked up for JMO. This is scary now for your FYB. You've got no grounds for a take except through mid, which is even more dangerous because you've got no control mid.
Ooh, JMO. You mentioned the zero control. It's just around on the flank. Rossi still does take one back. Good recon dart. Potentially take one back, but good positioning from Easy. Back up in green cubby, but okay, there you go. Easy with a cleanup. That could have gone so awry if they had actually checked the corner, but the drop from Huston was really what put the nail in the coffin at the end of things. EUNITED off of an eco round, still making up space.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky position if you're FYB, right? The time is not on your side. You don't have time to necessarily clear those angles because every second counts where you can get a more advantageous position. And EUNITED, they do a really good job of pulling the time off the clock, right? It's FYB not running a default. EUNITED capitalizing on the space that they leave open and ensuring that FYB have no control towards mid. That's the big thing. You have to make that gamble. You've got to go straight in without clearing your corners, and they pay the price to Easy. Second round EUNITED. It's JMO now with the up, but a chance at one. There's the first. He's got Scourge if he needs to back away with him as well. Smoke down. They get out of there, and FYB instantly in a 4v5. They are going to try and readjust, and now the emphasis is now towards mid, but they lose all that control towards A now.
Oh, Mikkel on his lonesome spots the barrel, gonna win the battle. Make up his space on A. FYB still fairly scattered over towards the mid area, and JMO, good stuff.
Lovely trade.
Really pinching out the bleeding too, because I mean Scourge, he comes in at almost perfect time to cut off the rotation, and he's still able to get the kill into Rossi. That is just unfortunate, but now KRZ might be walking in right into the headshot angle, still isolates out a little bit. Cage up could potentially get the spike back. Indeed, he does. No way he fights this. They're not even expecting it. Gonna line two up, but the trade comes back for Joseph. All right, a little bit of a fun attempt from KRZ, but again, you got to give it up to Scourge and JMO. JMO just immediately made his way back over towards the A site, and he still had Scourge more or less throughout that mid area and a little bit more of a lurk, but still comes in at a perfect time to cut off the rotation.
Yeah, and EUNITED, they played their cards extremely well with really good setups by both Scourge and JMO. As soon as the kill comes in, they know they can back away to either A or B because they have that trip. They have a reassurance that they can have minimal mid control, and FYB would have to really respect the fact that EUNITED could have an op there. So EUNITED played that one extremely well. Now FYB, no more defaults, it looks like, as once more, that's what's been, I think, hurting them in the later stages of this first half. I mean, it gives all that space. FYB looking for an early frag. It's turn up off the Hunter. Sphery lines him up from downtown, and there's one to respond. A double tag and a chance for two, but it's only just the single as Mikkel capitalizing on that space. It's FYB who trade things back, and Scourge nearly going down because of it.
Oh, but Mikkel still fights, and Huston is there too. EUNITED, they just get broken apart. You got to give it up to Rossi. His lineup ended up giving out the information. The Hunter's Fury with a whole lot of damage, but not only that, but pressuring them back over towards Courtyard.
That Hunter's Fury, those combos are so deadly. We spoke about it before, and there it is. Great combo allows Mikkel that space. We saw it in the first or the second or third round as well from FYB, doing so much with Mikkel dashing, playing off the Hunter's Fury. They do the exact same thing here. And I mean, there's nothing you can do for EUNITED. That pressure, you're not expecting such a fast play from FYB after such slow rounds from the get-go. And now FYB, they pick up the 6. They've got a guaranteed 6-6 scoreline. And there's that combo again. Mikkel is so good at creating space. And then that Lear, the JMO operator, it's so hard to take that fight if you are him.
Again, super tough. Once you have two over towards that back courtyard area, you do start to get a little bit more confidence back in just the potential to really try to hold down that cat cross. Even if there is a smoke, you can still start to post up in terms of a crossfire. But again, FYB just finding that straight up was more than pivotal. Really good work, really good decision making, I guess. But still FYB early on in this round, they are really taking their time with this one. Actually, we talked about no defaults, and this one's just a little bit different. This one's just disciplined and looking for early picks potentially.
Yeah, so instead of running like the traditional leave one to watch B get B main control, they just drop one trip and they focus towards mid. Now that owl drone for turnip, I don't know how much info it got, so it could be banking on the fact that this is a mid play, and this is a really good positioning. JMO could have lined up too, dashing out there, but he's on 20 HP. Turnip is there to help him out if he needs to. Cage goes up as well, so that EUNITED can't push forward. But that tick, that one recon bolt, it should have been Scourge to find the frag, and a wall bang from under heaven. KRZ's good for the second, and FYB once more, a quick burst on the A site, dismantling EUNITED, and now it's a retake.
Oh, the paranoia from True. He's thinking about it. All three players off this lineup. They have to come in at the perfect time. In goes that contact. Paranoia still hasn't gone in. True instead wants to go for a little bit of a one-way smoke. It's going to drop down directly for him. Easy still trying to drop down to Rossi on the flank back. This covers up True. True's in the smoke, just waiting for a player to walk through. Spots a barrel. He's literally just waiting for his opportunity. That's huge. Turnip just has to run away. He has 5 HP. Somehow he's still alive, but EUNITED, they lose out on the round.
Oh my goodness. Imagine that Turnip decides to spray for a little bit longer. Everyone in FYB does end up going down, but I think the rounds they've got, there should be no worry whatsoever. Mikkel can reinvest easily with the 9k that he's got, so that smoke, a really cheeky one. I'm surprised that EUNITED don't commit more of a fight there. I mean, the paranoia as a response as well. Truo, he should not have been able to get anything there. He should have been 100% cleared out by that smoke. I guess 500 IQ from an EUNITED. Not thinking that he was going to play there due to the time, and you got to make that gamble. 7-3, 2 rounds left in this half. It's EUNITED who are struggling for air in this first map, and JMO getting aggressive. Spots at least one, but that's all the info that he's got.
Rossi again playing that A main anchor. As an attacker too, I never really thought I would say that, but EUNITED, they've been pressuring out that situation so much, and Rossi so pivotal. And it's the same thing with KRZ at this point. Waits for his opportunity on the B site. FYB, they take their time, and it works out in spades.
Smoke in front of Easy's face. He's not going to get much info, so FYB are going to try and play around that fact. But as it fades, Mikkel's now realized he's got to at least ensure that they know there's a player here, right? Needs to try and cancel all that info. The recon bolt mid might draw away easy, but it's too easy for him. Oh. He's got 3 quick bursts on the Bulldog. That's where it truly shines. But this is the gamble now that EUNITED, what gamble, if at all, do they want to make? They leave 1 on both sides. Turn up with a great investment of the Sal drone. Should get a whole bucket load of information. It might not make it around this corner. Does it spot out KRZ? It does. Left. They know where they are now. With 30 seconds left, it's got to be a commitment. He's got to hold the line, and Scourge has got to come quick. Turn up, full blinded, but still finds it. Down to KRZ in a 1v2.
You know, Spec was there too, but they're just taking their sweet old time. 50 seconds. KRZ.
10 seconds left.
Going for a fake here?
He's gonna try and win
serious?
Up the duel. He could.
6 seconds.
He could.
He finds 1, but not gonna be able to find the second, presumably. Oh my god.
He's so low.
The brain on KRZ, dude. He did this earlier over on Cat, where again, playing with the mental of EUNITED, they expect one thing. It's like that one clip that was posted last week by by Xset. They expect one thing, and then you hit him with a sheesh. He was so close to pulling off that clutch, but again, a decent idea, but it was a last-ditch effort.
Jeez, yeah, Scourge, give yourself a little cooldown with the Fangs. That one got way too hot, I think, for their liking. Jeez, that was almost a 300 IQ play there from KRZ. He had Scourge low. He got the tag through the wall and everything. That's the crazy thing. Now FYB, recon bolt for Rossi, nowhere near the Hunter series, so we're not going to see that combo anymore in the last round of this half. Recon bolt goes in. They have position awareness of 1, 2 in the backside. It's Joseph and Easy to try and hold it down as JMO's been smoked off, but FYB are taking so long. The TP canceled, and now they've committed. JMO with the swing, but KRZ was ready.
KRZ ready. Scourge in such a dangerous position, but Truo's watching over it. Mickle and Huston just watching over the positions in the back of sights. And now Turnip in a 1v4. Can't win against KRZ. That's going to be FYB with a majorly successful first half.
You know, really great isolation, especially in that last round, to take the fights on the left side of the walkway. They shut down any swing from market, any swing from spawn with KRZ watching. But this first half was all FYB. EUNITED, I predicted they were going to hopefully end up adapting later on to the fact that FYB were just simply not running defaults. But then FYB, they counter back and they start to run slow mid defaults. And EUNITED, they just weren't prepared for these burst plays. Time and time again, FYB super good with those bursts. And I know, unfortunately, I think Lex might be if he watches this back and hears me say time and time again, he might get frustrated. I'm kicking myself for that. But yeah, it's EUNITED that down by 4 rounds. It's the attacking side where they now need to make a comeback.
Right. You know, I'm actually proud of the fact that we don't say it all too much.
Yeah, does it count that I caught myself for saying it, or?
Yeah, I didn't catch myself. Actually, map number 1, I said it, and I ended up getting caught lacking on a Twitch clip. Hate to see it, folks. Hate to see it. I say that too much too. Gotta catch myself up, folks. 4-8, and it is actually EUNITED splitting up the A site.
Okay, KRZ on top of heaven. This is good positioning. That cam buys them a whole lot of time, and they haven't even realized where the cam's coming from. So this retake potential for FYB has just doubled in probability. The cam still not being spotted out yet. They've got late trips as well. This is big for FYB, and the execution, waiting for flashes, waiting for anything to get them going.
Again, oh my god, quadruple coverage of the Gate and Cat. They all just spill out. Now it's just Truo alongside Huston actually trying to make their way through. Huston, last one remaining in a 1v4. Again, EUNITED fighting that hard for the gate opening. That's not something that we see all too much. We usually see the 2-man crossfire and potentially one more near sights, at least trying to get up that first contact to try to evade any sort of danger from those 2 players playing close. But EUNITED, they just put all the bodies forward.
Yeah, that is unexpected. I mean, that's where they came from, I guess, and that's where they wanted to go back to, right? They split through the Cat and then they put little pressure towards A main. So I guess that's the idea for FYB, or apologies, EUNITED, is go back from where we came because we have that control already. And FYB, I guess they just weren't ready for it whatsoever, clearly, as they played that 2-2 split. Now, EUNITED, this is more of a default. We didn't see this too much from FYB, but they're going to take things slow. Control towards A main. This congestion from FYB is keeping Easy on his toes. He's looking for a fight. They have info. There's guaranteed 2 towards Cat. So I think EUNITED, they're going to try and play off of that information, see what they can bait out early on. As the B site, no movement has been made. In an eco round like this, if you are the ones that won the pistol round, you're expecting your opponents to maybe get aggressive and try and find those fights. But with nothing towards B, you probably have a sneaking suspicion that there could be no one here, but they're going to take things carefully just in case.
Cage triggered.
Again, it's what you more or less expect once in a while from teams just sitting around with with real low economy. I'm actually surprised that we didn't see it do too much from our last game from LG. But you know, at this point, FYB, because they have a setup like that, they could just go for a full retake, coordinate a little bit more, take a stroll, contemplate life. And EUNITED at this point, they're also just chilling at this point, just waiting for their ultimate doom. But in we go. You still have KRZ actually trying to pop out with a couple of right clicks. JMO one back onto KRZ. You still had Mikkel actually updrafting in, just trying to get some information, potentially a cheeky right click, but nothing of the sort. Still Rossi in the middle of the smoke, in the middle of the CT smoke actually, but turn up still takes it back. So EUNITED, I mean, they invested a whole lot into that round. 3 players go down, that's a heavy reinvestment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, FYB do so much damage there. So now EUNITED, this is a round where they could get fundamentally reset, right? It could change this. This could shift the entire game with this round. And not to over-exaggerate the impact of this round, but it's EUNITED that economically are going to be reset if FYB can pick it up. 3 players going down. JMO and Joseph, the only ones that don't really need to make major investments, right? JMO can back up maybe to that Blade Storm, but FYB, they're looking for early fights here. Huston is going to go around the corner, the Owl Drone to take the first bit of info, but the Owl Drone does end up tagging him. They've got to back away. They do get info for info, so it's an even trade for both sides, but EUNITED, in all this time, have one cam set up to watch the B flank, and are starting to work up catwalk where they know there could be little players putting an emphasis off of the 2 players taking the early fights.
Stay down.
Oh, okay, Rossi just there for the first contact. Not only that, but any enemy smoke right behind him, he uses it at least for a cover. Do like the double main though, that's huge for trade potential. And it's just a one-off too. EUNITED playing a little bit more of a default, but they're still committing over towards the B site in terms of spike position. But again, still with the bodies discovered by EUNITED over towards that site, they need to go quickly on B.
Yeah, they were really banking on the fact that they could get some info into A main, but then Huston takes down Scourge and everything kind of just falls apart now. FYB locking things down on that A side off of 2 big kills. EUNITED try to cancel, but they walk right into their doom. Turnip needs to go down here. He doesn't want to stay alive. That's a very awkward fight. 1 versus 3. Turnip. He is definitely surrounded. Not in a good position as Huston has him with his back turned. 9-6. FYB doing a really good job, and there's that big round. EUNITED ended up losing.
Came down to that ace setup again. FYB, they've been very versatile. Not only from, of course, now in the second half, but also in the first half. You could see glimpses of what is their hard defense. And a lot of the players, I mean, they're still going for their own individual plays, but they also always have some sort of trade potential. I'm just liking the fundamental aspect of things from FYB right now.
Yeah, they are playing super well as like a coordinated team. Like, this isn't something that you would expect from a team that has very little history. So I don't know how this has worked out so well for them. Rossi lining up 3. He's gonna get 4. Could have been a second ace for the man, but at the very least, he'll find 4 kills. Get the Hunt to Siri online. That is a sweep from FYB as they move forward. It's EUNITED who, it's a calamity of a round, but they're gonna try and shake it off as best they can. And FYB nearing the first map dub. There's 3 rounds to go, but EUNITED are going to do everything they can to hold them back.
Yeah, I was just surprised that Huston even got into that position, but FYB, especially if you're Rossi, you absolutely take those. He's stat padding at the moment. 20 bomb already, Sully, and for FYB, there's a minimum of 3 rounds left. We could potentially see Rossi starting to pop off and potentially become one of the higher statted players throughout this whole tournament thus far.
Yeah, great control though here as well from FYB. That recon bolt allows one or two players to get really aggressive, which we're already seeing. But on the other side, because EUNITED lose that control towards A main, they're going to try and flip it back and go towards B. Smoke drop in the front of B main to give them that control. And now they're going to set themselves up here for an exit. Scourge sending out a Lear. Hunter's here to try and clear, but a horribly missed flash. Unfortunate that Truro can't get a connection onto Scourge. Maybe mistimed it just a little bit. Puts KRZ in the back. One-way cage on the left side, but now he's got to dance with death. He's got one. Nearly finds a second. Low HP now for Easy, and it's a retake that FYB can certainly win off of this Hunter's Fury.
Oh, but they have to connect in the back. Aside, Huston gonna completely catch JMO off guard. He was watching over the cross in mid, but again, couldn't exactly consolidate the mid rotation. But even then, EUNITED still with a decent amount of bodies, but they're still grouped up, double in the back. Potentially the shock darts are still alive. That would have to come in absolutely massive. Big smoke too, but Huston, he doesn't really care. Just walks right out of it. Dismiss on 5 HP. Easy's done for. That's massive from Huston. And overall, I mean, that Hunter's Fury, yeah, it didn't get the kills that they wanted, of course, but Sully, we keep talking about the effects of the Hunter's Fury in terms of the scatter effect, in terms of just spacing players out of sight, using it almost as a vacuum, and it just works out for FYB as they isolate the players, and Huston is able to pop off.
Yeah, one thing that the recent patch has made more of an emphasis is that Empress. Like, imagine Huston doesn't have the Empress. He doesn't have dismisses, he doesn't have devours, like he can't get that space off of the Hunter's Fury if he doesn't have the Empress. So it's crazy to think that one change and the fact that Huston decides to hold on to the Empress for that long basically swung that round. Now FYB within now just to clean off the knives, but JMO can't find the connecting headshot. It's EUNITED who have taken a whole lot of space, and FYB are going to start to retake. An Aldrone down towards A main. Minimal pressure towards mid as they alleviate everything on B. Early fight, and Scourge is wanted.
Yeah, no, this is massive. FYB, one of the many times that they've had to go for full retakes onto this B site. Gotta watch out though. A couple of players from EUNITED are getting a little bit closer to those choke points, but they are staying relatively conservative. Watch out with Scourge. Oh, love that ping. He could pop off at this point. Still try to go for a little bit of a wide swing, but he's gonna stay safe again. Huston, however, with a wide swing. True gets another one. FYB, some way, somehow, still getting a man advantage out of this, but there's still more work to be done. Spike still ticking. Joseph on the front line, but he's full blind. Two in the back, stuck behind the smoke. Huston has to push this one out for his team. Isolates Easy, but Easy's still alive. He gets another one, but Rossi beaming through the smoke. 3K, but do they get the defuse? Yes, they do. FYB. Again, such an OG name like that, but it doesn't matter. This old guard is here to frag.
It's so close. Literally a second longer, and they would have had it. EUNITED isolated in the front lines. FYB do such a good job of swinging together, right? Players from Market, players from Spawn, all taking connecting fights and off of utility, Leers and Paranoias to get themselves those isolated fights. It's so well coordinated. And EUNITED, had they maybe brought those two players that were taking the early fights in Market and Defender Spawn back to the bomb site, they would have maybe had a better chance. But EUNITED, could be their last chance. As it's 12 here. Look at the position that Huston has taken as well. This is something that FYB haven't done all game long. They're looking for the bait. They're looking for the kill, and it's a bait and switch as Mikkel's good for one, but JMO to swing for the second. It's traded back and forth, but EUNITED come out on top in the retake. Looking maybe a little less likely now for FYB in the 2v4.
And this is where the funny part comes in. EUNITED's B take have been immaculate, honestly, thus far. And this time, FYB, they put a couple of more bodies on site, and that just leaves them at a total detriment in terms of what has been their retake potential. So now they're just sitting ducks. All they can really do now is aim for the exits, and exits don't exactly matter all too much going forward. Yes, EUNITED did expend a little bit of util going into the round, but their economy is still more than fine. FYB, however, they got to focus on the long run, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, KRZ could get something here. If this is big in terms of exits, is that FYB, if they let maybe one or two more rounds go through, And that's when the economy starts to hurt. But Joseph,
Right.
able to get away with that one. It could have been 3 kills there as well, given the HP of 2 more players, both Turnup and JMO. But FYB, nothing avails them, and their economy, despite winning those 4 rounds in a row, most of them have been down to like 2 VXs, very close and down to the wire. So United, they've definitely punished FYB enough to give themselves another chance to keep this first map going. Op picked up for Mikkel. The pressure towards B clearly didn't work, so they're not going to try it again. Now, United, like you said, the B hit has been basically their best site so far, so they're going to try it once more. Early smoke down as Mikkel looks for a peek, but the smoke out, and that will allow JMO to swing and get some control back. Now, United are playing this slow. They want to try and fake some pressure, I think, towards A, draw some rotations from FYB, see what they can get before they make their final plan and make their final exec onto whichever site they please.
The funny thing about really going into this one is the kind of, I'm not going to say the lack of games on a sense, but it is their least played map. They're 1-3 at the moment, Sully. Though they've only won Ascent like once, and they haven't played like hard, you know, like tier 1 opponents or anything of the sort. They've still been playing around like VCSs and all that of the sort. But FYB, certainly, I mean, with such a curveball pick, still going absolutely massive against EUNITED, but now they have to hold things down. And what is such a pivotal position for a Huston? He's only able to get one, but still, Scourge takes one back. Man advantage, Mikkel, he needed that one. Oh, EUNITED, that would be left at such a detriment. He had 2 opportunities for the frag, but couldn't be able to execute. Still has a Blade Storm to bail himself out. Most of the players from FYB approaching for the heaven area. There's one in Cat, and there you go. Mikkel explodes, takes down Scourge. 1 bullet left, 1 headshot to take on, but Turnham has the angle. Rossi takes him back. 1 last person remaining in a 1v3. Truo takes down Easy, and FYB, frag your bag, folks. We're going to be going to a map number 2, and FYB, they're looking for the upset.
They've got a crazy lead going through this one. I mean, a complete outplay against EUNITED in the early stages.